30 sleeping pills, medicine for anxiety, depression, PTSD, 60 morphine, and 480 oxycodone. And I just kind of had the realization one day that if I didn't do something different with my life, that I probably wasn't going to live much longer. And my whole sense of self was completely gone. I was just simply existing. So I had done some research and found out that there were veterans who were transitioning to cannabis products. And in the beginning of 2016, I was able to wean myself off of all pharmaceuticals and successfully transition to cannabis products. And since I've been retired, I have undergone a couple more surgeries that I've completely treated with cannabis product since, and everything that I treat myself for, whether it be mental health or physical ailments, it's all done through cannabis. And so having my own story and having a platform and organization like BVN to kind of help out with that and provide that sense of community for all veterans who are going through the same thing is just, it's a wonderful, wonderful source to have.
Fantastic. Well, we're blessed to have you from the Balance Network. Is that what you call it? The
Balanced Veterans Network.
Balanced Veterans Network. Fantastic. I want to share with you all right now that I worked on a film called Project 22, and 22 Missourians came up to Colorado, and we did filming of all of their vets that came, and they were incredibly happy to come to Colorado because they were like puppy dogs at 5 p.m. for what do they call it? Happy hour, where everything was half price, and they just went in and got their cannabis. It seems that the cannabinoids that our body produces are also helping with PTSD and with their need to use opiates and kill themselves. So, hi, Michael, we got you. We got you. And so we're blessed to have you on board from the Balanced Veterans Network, and we'll do more together. I promise. Maybe even produce a small video with you all. That's what I do. And I'm not traveling that much right now. I traveled twice last year. I mean, come on, from 10 to 2. But I'm blessed with having you on board, Jen. Let's go now to Rosemary. Rosemary, are you with us? Can you unmute yourself and give us your rank, serial number, and what's what brought you here today? And tell us a little bit about, for the people around the globe. We're in Mexico, we're in Portugal. How important it is that veterans speak up for cannabis.
First of all, let me say good afternoon and thank you for having me. Second of all, I'm from Rock Hill, South Carolina. My home of record is Gainesville, Florida. I'm kind of a unique character in this perspective. I did 4 years reserve, 2 years active duty. My last duty station was Fort Leonard, Missouri, back in 1986. Now, with that being said, I'm currently an activist. I work with minorities for medical marijuana. I also host a podcast called Awake and Bake Daily, which I try to do at least once a week, which has kind of been difficult during COVID because I've been sick with pneumonia and COVID. But back to my story. I suffer from PTSD from the military through sexual military trauma that I suffered, and a host of other things by going through the military process. I have 2 total knee replacements as of now. My right knee's been replaced 3 times, my left knee once. I have ruptured disc in my back. I have tendonitis, and also I suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder. So,
and no opiates in your system.
Excuse me?
And no opiates in your system.
No, sir, not since 2014.
Yay!
I went to Denver, Colorado, I guess you could say, to find myself. And I want to thank everybody out there in Denver, Colorado that know my story personally. I was out there for 1 year. I found out how to grow, how to treat myself. And with all that help, that's why I'm still here, because when I left to go to Colorado, I was on the verge of suicide. At the time I left, I was on 19 medications. Within 1 year, I got down to 3. I'm currently on 6 right now because, like I said, I currently live in South Carolina. as we speak right now, they're fighting to get us a medical bill here. And it's looking pretty close right now. It's kind of 50-50 shot that we might get one. But if we do, it'll be the most restricted in the country.
Wow. Well, you mean, did you say you're in South Carolina right now?
Yes, sir.
Fantastic. And what are the laws there right now in SC?
Okay. Currently we have CBD only. We do not have a medical bill. We currently have a medical bill that's working its way to the legislature. Right now, they are going through some amendments to the bill right now as we speak. They're on the House floor. Last time I checked, I believe it was Senator Davis on the floor that was speaking at the last time I was able to see it. I had to get my mind and soul prepared for this, so I had to channel that out.
And have you served any time overseas?
No, I have not.
So we're blessed to have you and to have all the vets today. All I can say is ham puree, Rosemary. What has cannabis done for you? Can you give a testimonial?
Oh, I didn't do a great testimony. It helped me keep my marriage together. What I was saying, I'm in a unique situation. I have been married to a soldier for exactly 35 years now, going into my 36 years of wedded bliss. So this has actually helped me stay married to my spouse. And he's seen the changes in me right after I came back from Colorado, because when you're suffering from post-traumatic stress or whatever you're suffering through and you don't have answers, and I've took well over 25, 30 different prescriptions from anywhere from Percocet to Zoloft to everything else, from sleep, bipolar disorder, the whole 9 yards. When I'm talking about a chemical cesspool the VA gives you, I was on the brown bag brigade, and it took me losing memory on 77 to say I had enough. I mean, with one of the medication was Tramadol. It was something for my back and my knees. And I left the house thinking I'm gonna go one way. Next thing I know, I'm in Charlotte, and don't remember how I got there or why I was there.
And so by going to Colorado, that's a legal state, you learned more about how to grow and how to take care of yourself through using the medicinal aspects of the cannabinoid.
That is correct. And I would love to be able to teach others here in South Carolina, but that hasn't stopped me since I've been back here in South Carolina. I still preach the gospel about using cannabis. I would like to be able to use it legally, not illegally. And that's my fight right now, to help other veterans like myself to be able to, come out the cannabis closet and use it legally. Right now, we're scared. If this bill passed right now, let me give you an example for that. If this bill passed here in South Carolina, there is no smoking flower. There's no burning of the bush whatsoever. And it'll be a vaping process. The penalties that they have currently in this current bill that they're trying to get passed are worse than they have on the legislature currently.
So it's a bad bill.
It's a very bad bill.
So how do we help you to write letters, or where can people speak up for that?
All they can do is they can contact the legislators here in South Carolina and say, hey, yes, it's true, we need a bill, but the bill that they're trying to pass right now is not the right bill. We need to start over. And first and foremost, when we start this process over again, which I hate to say it, but we must, you need to start over with your senators and your representatives in your local precincts, or however you want to call it. We have 46 counties here. And out them 46, you have 46 people representing you. Right about now, they're representing, I hear more I than we. And that's the problem. They get there, they say they represent us, but all I keep hearing is the word I.
So with your show that you do, Wake and Bake Daily, can you get that to be shown to some of these constituents? So, I mean, can you get, maybe if you send me something, I can do a 1-minute video for you with an intro and an outro, and you can just send it in an email. We'll send it in an email to them, and there's no way they won't watch it if it's 30 seconds or a minute.
I would love to be able to get together and do that with you, because we need everybody help. The thing is this, the more people that's involved, just like they got involved during the election, we need that to happen again here in South Carolina.
Right,
We
right.
need everybody to know that, you know, they're still quoting the reefer madness here. We're still hearing about Cheech and Chong. We still hear about people rolling blunts. We still hear about nothing but negativity. We need to hear more about the plant, what it can do for people. And we need to quit stereotyping. This bill has been so stereotyped, it's ridiculous.
Well, you sound like a perfect poster child for South Carolina and for the world. I mean, you're speaking the words that the world needs to embrace. I mean, you know, I don't know if it's Puerto Rico or the Philippines where they're still killing people for pot. The idea is that we hold space, and every fourth Weedsday, we have World 420 Day, and we do a 42-second meditation to visualize marijuana becoming free again, because alcohol is free and it's a little bit more angry and it messes with your liver. Marijuana doesn't. And so that's the only thing that I know and I'm allowed to say. But with your testimonials that it worked for you, bless you so much. And everybody today here in the back office on the chat box, text me your email, your name, and your phone numbers, and I'll stay close with you and what your major gift is to me. And like I said, Rosemary, I'd be happy to spend a few hours on a video for you if you send me content, and then we can send it to your legislators. Somebody's going to peek at it.
Oh, I got 8 years worth. You want from the beginning to now?
I don't need your eight years worth, but pull out some. That's my problem. I made a movie and I had 20 hours and I had to turn it into an hour, and so it's like killing babies. But that's not really what we do. But in video, that's what we call it, on the floor, the stuff that got away. So just send me a few beautiful things that are going to help me make one video for 30 seconds or 60 seconds, and I'll make it really slick and we can put it in an email for you.
Okay, then. Well, guess what? I guess I'm gonna have to get with my son with this. Because like you said, it's hard when you gotta make selections like that, because it is so much out there that you can select. So I'm gonna have to get with my son.
Just pick some doozies, and I'll come up with something really beautiful, and I'll interview you again on a private moment. And thank you. That was Rosemary, everybody. Let's thank you. And let's say hi to Michael when we're going around the horn for a minute. No, we got Kara. Kara, come in again and say hi, and bless the veterans.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me here with you guys today. I just wanted to say a little bit about, why I like the plant and why it helps me. I've been abused personally throughout my life by the system and discrimination against myself just for being me. And with cannabis and hemp, I'm able to just elevate my mood to where I can function daily, and get through my day without mood swings because of my bipolar disorder, my PTSD from the traumas I've experienced, and generalized anxiety disorder, as well as SAD and just general depression. The list will go on. And I also have physical ailments as well that consist of a lot of pain and blood pressure issues. And I've had weight loss surgery, so I need it for appetite. I get to eat about 4 to 6 bites of food daily, literally daily, 4 to 6 bites of food since I've had weight loss surgery. And without using the correct amount of cannabis, I can't eat, I can't exist, I don't have energy. And it's just...
Kara, you know what I say? Marijuana is the gateway drug to the munchies.
Dude, it's so true. It is so true. The only time I get hungry is if I've had a cup of my special Delta 8 can of coffee. I use Delta 8 as my preferred cannabinoid, or however we say that word. I'll be real, I'm a stoner, and that word is one of the hardest words to figure out which way is the correct way to say it. Cannabinoid. But either way.
How about cannabinoid?
Cannabinoid. That's the way. Cannabinoid. Thank you, Jeff. You taught me something today. Yay! But no, I generally am.
You like my sound effects?
I do like the sound effects. It makes me happy when I'm sad. That's pretty much the cannabis too. It makes me happy when I'm sad. But life in general right now, I think, is collectively sad because of the pandemic. And honestly, having cannabis as a release of just the true energy of the earth has been great for me. Whether it's been Delta 8, which is what's legal here in my state, or whether it's cannabis, which is legal in states surrounding mine. I'm lucky that I get to tour up to other states and visit their culture and see what it's like in different marketplaces. I'm very lucky that I have some kind of access to adult use cannabis around me, but it's still unsafe for people like me to have cannabis at all in our homes. So literally I just have what's legal here, and that's what's good for me. So I like
So just like our dosing guide, you're telling us, everybody, to go with your state legalization so nobody squeals on you because you're different and they want to put you in jail, because they're still putting people in jail, everybody.
It's sad out here. It's a real sadness. There's a lot of people in my state that are suffering from opioid addiction because we have a lot of veterans. We have a lot of people that have just suffered hard lives of addiction to heroin and meth. We have just a lot of suffering here in our state that would be solved by a medical cannabis program that could be implemented, I think, soon if we do some more research of the markets surrounding us. I think there's a lot missing from our state when it comes to cannabis, but there are some bills that were just introduced, I think today or recently, to hopefully have a little reform on the Indiana Farm Bill or whatever. The hemp farm bill. I'm still so full of information right now that my brain is overloading. But I have to say that after reading the article this morning, it sounds like they're trying to do the right thing when it comes to hemp-based products, increase the limits of THC allowable, and also provide non-DEA regulated labs for testing products, which is what we want here in Indiana. We want more accessible testing for labels instead of bans on products that are already legal under the Farm Bill.
Well, we're blessed. We're blessed today to have the veterans here, and God bless the veterans that are. And this is not. We're not going to church here, but sometimes my show is like church, because you feel better, and each one of us gets to be the ringleader, the pastor for the moment. And so we have Jen, myself, Rosemary, Sam, Cara, and Michael and Robert. Michael, are you allowed to have some bandwidth and say hi?
I can say hello in audio. My video seems to be silly.
Okay.
And thank you for having us. Thank you, everybody showing. Hemp Hooray. Anybody needs any seeds, vet wise, let me know. Reach out. That's what I create them for. So got my own little PTSD, pain issues, nervous issues from physical trauma, things like that. So I've got cultivars that fit the needs for a lot of the individuals that I've coached on how to grow, which just happen to be vets and retired cops, or all of them, which has been fun. So at least on the personal side. So I love everything you're doing here, Jeff. Thanks for having us, and looking forward to ending prohibition with you.
Well, I appreciate you so much, and it's great to be building my farmy. That's what the vets are all about. Protecting ourselves and our rights and our due rights. Our due rights are nobody in jail for a plant. Come on. Alcohol is way more violent than marijuana. You get the munchies from marijuana or from cannabis, and you get couch lock, or you put on some Marvin Gaye and dance with your partner, So that's what cannabis does for me. And it's the gateway drug to the munchies. So those people with AIDS way back when would smoke a lot of pot in the hospital, and it would bring their appetite back. So who's to keep it illegal, everybody? We're going to keep rolling right along. Thank you so much, Mike, for bringing your team in today. And like I said, our green farmy is what we are. We're going to plant the seeds of ending prohibition globally. So Sam, welcome, Sam. You got a 420 drink, we hope. And Sam, tell us a little bit about yourself, your rank, your serial number, and go to town, Sam.
Well, I'm Sam Sussman. I'm a former CTM-3 United States Navy, stationed out on USS Hopper DDG-70 out of Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, then Hopper Information Services Operations Far East. My detailer had really good jokes because before I got injured, I was supposed to go back to USS Hopper, and he was just going to have me hop around the commands. So my detailer kind of was a little bit of a jokester on me, but it was a fun time in the Navy. But there was also some traumas that occurred that caused my CPTSD. So I have what's called complex PTSD. It's a series of traumas instead of just one trauma. So for me, it was a lot of acts of anti-Semitism from growing up all the way while I was active duty as well, and kind of dealing with those traumas and facing them. With cannabis, it allows me to actually focus and break those apart when I start doing the meditation aspects. So a little bit about Jem here with Balanced Veterans Network and Robert. I was on the path to getting prescribed my 7th different anxiety and depression pill at the VA when I just said, I'm done playing games. I'm done with the guessing game of, is this next pill going to work? Is this next pill going to make me feel less suicidal? Is it going to make me feel less of like a shitty person? And I switched over to using plant-based medication, meditation, and movement. So between Veterans Ending the Stigma, which is with Robert Kowalski, and then Balanced Veterans Network, I was able to connect the dots and start getting more involved in the cannabis community. Robert made a great introduction to me to a wonderful woman named Tasha Roundtree. She's hosting with Midwest Canna Women a expungement clinic on February 16th, where we got invited to come out and help out with that. So it's Veteran Ending the Stigma with Midwest Canna Women and a few other sponsors of that event. We're just there to help fill out paperwork. We're not going to sponsor a program. We're just there to help out.
What state are you in? What state is that?
This is in Ohio.
Okay,
so
great.
We're going to be having clinics all across the state in Dayton, Cincinnati, Cleveland, and Columbus. So we're going to be doing expungements in 4 different cities on the same day on February 16th in hopes to have one of the largest expungement clinics in the state of Ohio, and hopes that we can get more support for cannabis legalization and also for home grow, because we're trying to push a big caregiver movement here on top of the recreational market.
Guess what?
To be real.
Guess what? Guess what? February 16th is a Weeds Day. Let's have a live episode and have you guys on.
I'll ask them if they're down. It's up to Tasha.
Sure.
And pretty much everybody who's involved.
Sure.
I don't want to pressure them to do something.
No. We'll just invite them, and we can also pre-record them a couple days in advance, and we can put them on and dedicate that show.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'll ask them. I'm going to be seeing Tasha later today. It's been a fun journey with cannabis to where now I'm getting a lot more involved, and that's where I'm pushing a campaign here in Ohio with Robert as well.
I know you're a little bit nervous, but you sound great today. You sound great, and we're really pleased to have you. You're doing great. I mean, this is a warm-up to February 16th and to the rest of your life. You're going to be a spokesperson. You're doing fantastic.
Absolutely. And one of the things we're pushing is over the counter. We want to phrase it over the counter instead of recreational. Because one of the things that ends up happening when we start pushing a recreational or adult use market is the medical market gets left out. And when we start pushing the over the counter aspect, we have people starting to think more instead of like, hey man, I just need to go get a joint to get high, to relax for the day, to, hey, I was extremely stressed today. My anxiety was up. I kind of need that joint to recenter and rebalance. So that way we bring back into this aspect that all use is medical use. Whether it's recognized medical use or not is a completely different subject. If it's somebody just that's how they relax when they get off work instead of a beer, we should probably start having that conversation about the depressant that they were choosing in the past versus something that's helping them relax now.
When my parents came home,
only forces further depression.
when my parents came home from work, I'll be a Beatles song in April. For my birthday, I'll be 64. When I get older, losing my hair many years from now. And so I'll be 64. And when my parents came home when I was a kid, they would make a Mai Tai. They'd put some, put a piece of pineapple in there and a little umbrella and mellow out. But they weren't abusing it. It's our turn.
Exactly. And one of the things is with a lot of things going on these days, like I work at a college bar. So I literally see kids who are dealing with their trauma with alcohol because they're not allowed to use cannabis. Now, most of those students I also talk with on a daily basis, since I bartend for them on the weekend. We talk outside of the bar, and a lot of them are interested in medical cannabis, but they're fearful because of their college aspect. They're still receiving money from FAFSA. They're still receiving federal funds. They're afraid of what the campus might say. So working in that aspect of destigmatizing, a lot of these college kids want to smoke because that's how they're able to calm down and relax after being stressed about some normal stressors. And we put a lot of pressure on them to deal with it and just suck it up while they're going to school. But we don't talk about while you're at work, you shouldn't want to have to drink when you get off work. You shouldn't want to have to de-stress. And a lot of people are really taking their mental health into consideration. So a lot of times when I speak with them and we start talking mental health, I'm like, hey, maybe you should not drink so much. And maybe that binge drinking you're doing on the weekend isn't a good idea. And a lot of times they start to drink less, but they start to sometimes smoke more, or they start to actually go to the gym, go and do meditation, go to the hot yoga studio that's right next door to our bar. And they're starting to see some improvements with their mental health. So it's destigmatizing it through that aspect of just being social with people is where I kind of live in the activist market as well.
That's
I'll pass it over to Robert if you're cool.
Yeah, that's pretty great. That you're in the headspace and in the heart space and the green farmy, as I call it, space to teach the children responsibility with alcohol and responsibility with cannabinoids and responsibility with being nice on the planet. I mean, you can't be, you can't curb your niceness, but you can curb your intake of of anything that's not right for you. You can overdose anything, but I'm just really blessed to have you on board and have you as one of the spokespeople today. We're at Weedsday, everybody. Jeff Eichen, episode 89, doing a reset here. And Robert, take it away.
Hi, Jeff. Thanks for having me. Name's Robert Kowalski. I am a disabled U.S. Air Force Security Forces veteran. I was stationed at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio. I currently live in Ohio. I did 2 combat tours to Iraq, one in 2007, and then I was there all of 2009 for a police transition team, training Iraqi police officers. I was diagnosed with PTSD shortly after while I was still active duty, and struggled to find help while active. It started with a couple of medications here and there, a lot of times leading to bad paperwork. And so I actually took matters into my own hands and started addressing my symptoms with cannabis while I was still active. This led to my discharge about 6 months later for a urinalysis positive test for cannabis. That sent me down a path to where I became homeless. I was homeless for a year, fighting the VA to carry over my PTSD diagnosis to receive assistance. After I got through the VA process, I actually moved from Ohio to Arizona, where I became a legal cannabis patient in 2012 for the symptoms of PTSD. Shortly thereafter, I was able to stop taking all of the pharmaceutical medication that the VA had prescribed me. I was upwards of 22 pills a day at this point, about 16 different medications. I started volunteering my time in a cannabis farm, a large-scale cannabis farm in Arizona, and through plant therapy and my use of cannabis, I was able to stop all of my pharmaceutical medication. I was able to kind of center myself, gravitate myself back to the real world on how to mesh back into society. Moved back to Ohio about a year later to try and help my grandmother who was diagnosed with cancer. And that's what led me into advocacy for the plant. Moving back to Ohio, it was still illegal. And so I wanted to share what I had learned with my experience with other patients in the Arizona market, as well as my experience with cultivating it. And it was through that experience that led me to creating Veterans Ending the Stigma that focuses on the medical cannabis aspect, also focusing on mental health issues and homelessness issues. I feel that all three kind of coincide and a lot of times are subjected in the same pillar and lifestyle. And so if we can start attacking an individual's personal problems and start identifying what's led to the issue, then I feel that we can actually start identifying that issue and fix that issue so that they can pick themselves back up and not have to rely on the system that's not set up to help us out of it, but kind of set up to keep us where we're at. And that's the whole basis behind Veterans Ending the Stigma. In 2017, we were able to create the first veterans legislation component within a medical marijuana bill here in the state of Ohio that was passed by legislation that actually added some protection and extra bonus points to businesses that were going to do something to assist the veteran community. So we were kind of trying to tap into the cannabis market to see if they would step up to help us build a betterment for our own community, in hopes that with our experience, we can start sharing our stories of our experience and start bridging the gap between veteran and civilian. And through that bridge building, we hope that the transition and integration process is going to ultimately get better. And through that, it comes storytelling and sharing our experiences as veterans and our turmoils and our struggles, so that someone else who might be struggling the same type of way will see that there's a way out of it, will maybe pick up a new tool for their own toolbox to try and better themselves. And we know cannabis is a great way to start conversations. And that's why we really rely on the cannabis component to maintain that community component and really build conversations.
Well, I'm super proud of you, man. And it's really beautiful to have you. I'm going to pin you on the first screen here with me. It's super great to have you as an ambassador right now. I hear you. You're very articulate. I'm not. I just am fumbling through ecstasy here because I'm in ecstasy with all the veterans today, because I did focus for so long with the veterans on Project 22, where 22 vets kill themselves every day, at least from the opiate crisis, and opiates suck. We already know that. And now with this movement and this slice of our cannabis pie, there's so many there in this pie. There's so many pieces of the pie that create the complete circle that that I'm blessed that Michael brought back the veterans to me and to Weedsday. I'm not a big deal. I just do what I do. And as the angels, the Canna Angels, bring different communities and groups to me, I focus on you guys for a while and add you to my farmy, because I want to infiltrate, and I'm using veterans' words, I want to infiltrate the planet with good information, with education, which we call meducation, and the meducation is exactly what you're talking about. You know, what you said, Robert, and what Sam is talking about, what Rosemary has said, and what Jen is doing with her organization and her flow. So it is our opportunity and our responsibility to share this information. And may this day of bringing the vets back in help everybody to realize that it is helping with PTSD, and there is a receptor that I learned about at a conference in Colorado. Dr. Machulam was there from Israel, and Israel studies this and studies the component of the receptor, the PTSD receptor. And again, you all are the testimonials. So I'm going to ask you a question, Robert. Physically, mentally, and emotionally, happily, when did you get off your opiates and go to cannabis? And what was the circumstances?
Well, the reason I tried cannabis originally while I was still active duty was for sleep issues. I was sleeping either too much or I wasn't sleeping at all on the pharmaceuticals I was put on while active. And it relayed to either me being extremely tardy to work, leading to bad paperwork, or I just wasn't sleeping at all. And then when you start going days without sleeping and severe insomnia kicks in, then I started losing time and not really knowing where I was going, how I ended up places. And so that's why I started using it in the first place. And it took probably about 6 months after becoming a patient in Arizona to get off of all 22 pharmaceuticals. I did it probably not the best way. I know it wasn't the best way. I just did it cold turkey. I said I was done with these things. I tried overdosing myself, and I tried taking every bottle I had all at once, and that was kind of the turning point for me, to where it was like, if this is readily available and I've hit this far rock bottom, I got to do something, and the best way to stop something is to stop it, in my mind. So I stopped it and pushed through it. What I did notice was my usage. When I did do this, I started journaling my usage. And to get off of all of my pharmaceuticals, I was utilizing about 5 ounces a month. And after about 6 to 8 months of using 5 ounces a month, my usage by itself had actually dropped down to 3 ounces a month. And ultimately now, almost 10 years later, I utilize about 2.5 ounces a month to get by, to work on the advocacy work that I work on with Weed for Warrior projects, political action unit, also helping out other veterans in their endeavors and really trying to pick up our community. So that's where I'm at really with my cannabis usage.
Well, we're proud of you for speaking up today and for the rest of your time here, so you can be part of our Farmy. We welcome you, man. The Green Farmy is, we're enlisting them right now. We're getting ready to work with Dan Harrer on a golf tournament for his father. We'll have representation there in California on that day from the veterans for sure. I will not forget you. I haven't, but thanks to Michael, you're back in the Farmy right now, and I'm really doing a good push for 22 to get to the White House and to represent us and to end prohibition, because if we do it in America, it'll follow suit in every other country. Mexico's got a little bit going on right now, and we know about Uruguay and Portugal. They've decriminalized all pharmaceuticals, and so did Oregon, and now psychedelics are becoming popular, and it's important to have the psychedelia team on board too, because microdosing is helping with PTSD and with creativity. And believe you me, even with COVID and everybody being shut away from their families and being able to just congregate peacefully in mass, we need something that will help us to chill, like our parents when they came home and had their Mai Tai. They were doing it responsibly. So everybody, we're at Weedsday, and we're so blessed to have Robert on board here. And I will now take it back to Kara. And Kara, and thank you, Robert, for all you do. Bless you. And everybody, hemp hooray. We're still here for a little bit longer. Let's see here if I can play with my party here. Okay, so
Real quick, can I actually touch on something Robert brought up?
Bring it on, Sam. Bring it on, Sam.
Okay, so one of the reasons why we like to push over-the-counter usage over adult use and recreational is Robert brought up his personal testimony where when he started, his consumption was at 5 ounces a month. Most medical states, that's going to cap out your entire prescription. And in situations where you're just starting to learn what your triggers are, and you're starting to wean off, and you're starting to use more than you would typically use, having an over-the-counter market is no different than being on pain pills and then running out of your pain pills because your pain was spiking, and then going to the pharmacy and picking up Motrin. The over-the-counter market needs to exist for those situations, because those are the situations when we have other veterans who are literally getting triggered from news. I had 3 on the day we withdrew from Iraq that they ran out of their meds. They couldn't go to the dispensary to get their medication, and we had to go back to the streets in order for them to get their meds. We had to go to untrusted sources so that way they could stay calm. If we had an over-the-counter market, that would make it a lot easier for us to have trusted medication, where we can have lab-tested medication. And that big push where we need the medical and the over-the-counter market is a huge push, because not every single person or every single individual is going to need something for PTSD. They might need something for a little bit of light anxiety, or they might need something for the occasional seasonal depression when the seasons change. When it goes from summer to like 4 feet of snow here in Ohio, it gets a little depressing. You can't go outside. So those little seasonal depressions, seasonal anxieties, that's what the over-the-counter market should be targeted at. And hopefully we can get to that point where we're pushing that over the counter, because it's something that's needed in every state.
Well, from your mouth to the Canna gods and Canna angels' ears, it's important that we all follow suit and get that. I'm in Washington State, one of the early legal states, for gosh sakes, and they closed 300 medical stores for whatever reason. I don't have that document in front of me, but incredibly, we got rid of our medical. And when they had medical stores, you were allowed to tell the patient that came in what strain was good for what you have. They couldn't tell you what dose to use, but that's why I was talking about the dose guide today. The dose guide was saying use it slow. It says right here, use it slow and work your way into the perfect dose for yourself that works for you. And so by having advocacy, Sam and Robert and Jen and Rosemary and Kara, it's just so beautiful to have testimonials and people on my show that are telling people why we should have the end of prohibition. Alcohol's legal. Let's make marijuana legal. Where are we at? We're at 54. We're doing great with time here. Kara, I'm going to bring it back to you. Michael, are you still on? Michael, are you still with us? You still with us, Michael?
Cannabis is garbage.
Hey,
Because
Kara, come on in, Kara, and give us a little bit.
I just wanted to say thanks again to you guys, Robert and Rosemary, Jen and Sam. Your stories are so valuable to people like me because everything you're doing in, adjoining states to mine is really amazing that you guys are pushing this over the counter market federally. I think that's a great push. And I can get behind that and support that 100%. I'm just stepping out of a bubble into advocacy myself. And I have to say, my state makes it scary for me and induces paranoia because of the fact that it is federally illegal. The only reason I experience paranoia is because it's federally illegal for me to consume cannabis in my state. I personally think that there are a lot of solutions we could come to as a community that would provide the government options to create a federally legal medical program, but that it's already being written, right? We're already doing it. And as long as we stick together as a group of people that have a common effort for a specific goal, I think we can get things done in good time. But I think it's going to take a collaborative effort from people like us to continue to speak up and use our voices on platforms like this as this year moves by. So I'm just so grateful for having the opportunity to meet all of you today. I would love to keep in contact with each and every one of you. I'm sure Michael and I can talk about that later and connect us all in a room somewhere again. So I'd love to keep talking, Rosemary. I love every time you talk. I've seen you in rooms before. And guys, we just love to see that everybody is able to express themselves freely still about what they believe in, and I love that you guys are sharing your stories. So thank you again. And we have a big fight, but we're going to do it. And I believe in us.
We're totally on here. Let me see what I can do about, let's see if I can get my incredible sound effects. I'm going to say, yeah, for Kara.
Hey, please share all my information. I can be found on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. The thing about it is this. I understand your point about being paranoid, about being arrested and using cannabis in an illegal state, but I'm sorry, they don't give us no other choice. You got a choice of going back to where you was at or doing what you got to do for you. And right now, I'm taking that choice. I'm out loud and proud. If you Google me right now, the first thing pops up is cannabis or marijuana. So that tells you how far I'm out there. Just FYI, I know I probably shouldn't share this information, but I'm gonna share it anyway. I am disabled. And when I went in there to see the judge about my disability, the judge told me first and foremost, congratulations, you are the first cannabis carrying card member I've ever had in my courtroom. And by the way, you're in an illegal state that does that. She said, hats off to you. So just keep that in mind, when you do what you do. I'm not saying thumb your nose at the authorities by no means. And if you do medicate safely and in the privacy of your own home and don't advertise like I did. I don't recommend this for nobody. Because remember, I started this 8 years ago. You see how much gray I got? I'm just saying. But at the end of the day, I love my husband enough that I would take that chance to keep on doing what I'm doing right now, because I'd rather be up here talking to y'all right now than being on those 22 pills a day. Sleep, not knowing what's going on, losing track of time and everything else. So those are the choices that I have to make in my life, and I chose life, and I'll be 60 next month. So I'm happy to say that.
Hey. Well, let's go around the horn. Jen, give us your final words and hope for the future.
I really appreciate listening to everybody's story, and we all come from different walks of life, but at the end of the day, we all have such similar stories and such similar motivations for doing what we do. It's all too common that we have veterans and everybody talking about how many pills they're taking and how cannabis has essentially saved their lives. So no matter where you come from or what you're doing, it's all about us coming together and working together for the greater good. So thank you so much for having me here, and hope you all have a good rest of your day.
Hey, Jen, what do you have to say to the children?
What's that?
What do you have to say to the children?
to the children.
Yeah, out there in discovering their world.
Oh, just don't let anybody extinguish your fire, your light. Just be you and live your life and live it to the best of your own ability. And keep that light shining.
And what do you have to say to the adults?
To the adults, turn the light back on and get out of your own way.
And what do you have to say to me?
I have to say to you, thank you so much for doing what you do, and it's been a pleasure being here. So I'm
Well-
fortunate to be out here in Arizona, where we have a lot of more opportunities. I feel bad for y'all in states where it's not so easy.
Right. And thank you so much. We're going to go around the horn. And Sam, final words.
So I'm gonna just the 22 for 22. This is the year. I mean, it just makes sense for that slogan to be the slogan for veterans this year, for the push for legalization. Because let's be real, I live in Heroin Alley. Like 60 Minutes does a documentary down the street from my house, though, once every 3 months about the heroin epidemic. Here in Dayton, Ohio, most of the heroin addicts started on prescription pills. Most of the overdoses are from people who are just trying to either escape their pain that's either in their head or their actual physical pain, because it's kind of a violent place down here. The 22 a day, it's not just 22 of us. There's also spouses, family members, other civilians who are also having those challenges every day. If we can bridge this gap through that, you might as well make that push for 22 for 22.
Well, I'm super proud of you. What do you have to say to the children?
Stay in school and I don't know, study.
And how about
really,
the adults?
Around the kids.
How about the adults?
If you can have a glass of wine a day, you can have a joint a day. Sometimes that wine might be a temporary solution, but that joint might be a long term.
And to me?
Thank you so much for having me out. It's been a blast bringing everybody together for this. Let's hope for some big pushes in those non-legal states that are still in prohibition.
Thank you so much for all you do. And don't forget to leave your contact for me in the chat box. Rosemary, final words?
Okay, final words. Like I said, just I'm gonna tell people like this: where everybody lives, regardless if you live in a state that currently has marijuana or a state that doesn't have marijuana, remember your rights can be taken. Look at Colorado. It starts at your state level with your senators and House representatives. You have to vote the right people in order to keep your laws. For those who are like us here in South Carolina, in order for us to get the laws we want, you have to vote the people in that's going to work for us, ladies and gentlemen. That's the only way. And to carry it on to the state, to the federal level. The President of the United States has the power to take it off the Schedule 1. Don't let them BS you, okay? Remember, you heard that from me.
How about the children? What do you have to say to the children?
For the children, keep hope alive. I mean, keep dreaming. Because when Martin Luther King had that dream, it didn't mean that the dream stopped. It meant for the dream to continue.
He did say, I may not make it to the mountaintop, but we're still climbing.
That's right.
So thank you. And what about the adults? What would you say to the adults?
With the adults, this is the best thing that could ever happen right here. All of us coming together. All of us from different parts of the country. All of us looking different, right? Sounding different, everything else. The world needs to see this right here, showing that we all can come together at this time to work together for one cause. 22 a day is 122 too many. One is too many. So now is the time to make this work.
Fantastic. I'm going to do a screenshot. Everybody hold up the weed sign, which is forwards, which is 3. So at the count of 3, 1, 2, there we go. Okay. Yeah, there we go. Got it. And we'll throw in Michael down the road. Okay. We're going around the horn. Robert, give us, Robert, give us your final words.
First off, healing begins with purpose. If you feel like you've lost your way, go out there and try and find your purpose again. You'll find that it really is a build up to your inner self, your inner peace, and your overall well-being. And if you're interested in advocacy work, the first step to doing that is showing up. Show up, figure out who the players are, figure out who's doing what, where, and how they're playing the game. And then you figure out where you fit in and where you feel you can make the most impact in that game. And from there, you'll find that your future may be bright and changing what we're all here trying to change.
Fantastic. That's all about speaking up, everybody, and sharing and caring. What do you have to say to the children?
Dream big, don't lose focus, and remember that even though things are hard, if they're hard, they'll get better. Everything is only momentarily.
And what about the adults?
For the adults, I would say remember what the term community means. I feel like we've lost that sense of community, and if we're going to get through this world, we got to do it together. And it doesn't matter what you look like, doesn't matter where you're from. If you live next to somebody, make sure that you take care of that person, because all in all, we're all in this mess together.
Fantastic. And what about me? What would
you? I don't really know you, so I guess I could say thanks, and I appreciate this, and I appreciate the work you're doing to help keep the message moving forward.
Thank you so much for being with us and being a voice, and for all your service. Michael, we saw you for a second. Can you give us final words?
Absolutely. Thank you guys all for showing up. I'm just going to stick with the motto of what I do. It's we grow stronger together. So the words that each and every one of you guys said, it's truth. So I look forward to rewatching this again, just to watch all this magic over and witness the beginning to us collaborating together and ending prohibition.
Fantastic.
Many ways of leverage, and I look forward to being part of it. So thank you.
And Michael, what about for the children? What would you say to the children?
Don't listen to the stigma. Educate yourself. Make your own decision.
How about the adults?
Stay lifted. That's it.
And what about me?
Well, that's not. There's gonna be children listening. So. No, much love, Jeff, and I look forward to changing the world with you, man.
Okay, yeah, change is happening all over the place, and everybody be safe and don't worry about traveling to the next big show. We'll have it here, and let's be sure that the person that I talked to that's going to that one show, if we can get them involved, and everybody, I'm really blessed to have you today. Cara, any final words?
I have to say, we grow stronger together is definitely true. Sense of community is what we're here for. And everybody already said everything I would have said. So stay fly, stay high, and stay vibing, guys.
Okay, everybody, you got my contact and we got yours. And I'm going to share our screen here and give us one more outro here, and let's see if we can find it here. Episode, here we go. Hello everybody, it's Jeff Eichen here, and we are totally blessed to have you today and to tell you about our show this week, which is about cannabis and veterans, and why there's 22 vets that kill themselves every day on opiates, and we have to stop that. I just lost somebody to fentanyl this week. That was a dear DJ soul, Joshua. We talked about it last week. And so join us for Weedsday on episode 89 and get into our 90s. And we love you, and hemp hooray. Hemp hooray. Okay, everybody, that is our show for today, and we are super blessed to have everybody. Let's get one more look at everybody here before we sign off. And I got a new family. I love you all. I love you, Jen. I love you, Robert. I love you, Sam. I love you, Rosemary. You guys are very, from the first day, all my weed people are articulate. They just know what they're talking about. And it's medicine, it's paper, it's fiber, it's fuel. Get a move on, everybody. Let's end prohibition together. And this is Weedsday. Jeff Eichen signing off. Stay in contact with me, and let's save the world together. Thank you, Michael. Have a wonderful move to Missouri, and I'll get you in touch with Jeff Mazansky. I was going to bring him on today, but didn't have enough time. We'll do it next time. And Kara will get together. And Jeff Eichen signing out. Hemp hooray. Hemp hooray. Okay. Thank you to our broadcast network here. It is time to stop the screen share. Thank you, POD TV. We love being on your show and having your, let's see if we can get a logo up here. Boom. There we go. POD TV. And we're just really happy. Let's see. Let's get this logo. There we go. So I'm learning all the back office stuff here. And thank you, everybody. Thanks, Cheech and Chong, for being on last week. We'll have them again at the end of the month. And stay close. And don't forget that today's guests were cannabis vets that believe that that's helped them with their PTSD and everything. And you can definitely put a relief fund in our donation, which is Lifers, the movie /donate. So thank you so much, everybody. This is Jeff Eichen, and I am going to be out of here in just 3, 2, 1.